Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending in which time zone you are and when you're watching this presentation. My name is Patrick Henz. A little bit to my background. Originally, I studied business administration in the University of Cologne in Germany, always with a focus on economic and social psychology. Due to this, I stayed interested not only on human behavior, but also machine behavior. And fascinating for me is the interaction between human and machine behavior. And this is the topic for today's presentation. Collaborative intelligence, meaning the cooperation between independent players, which could be an all-human group, an all-machine group, or interesting for today, a mixed group between human and AI. And disregarding in the beginning some numbers so that we are aligned what we want to talk about. The situation today, ChatGPT, I'm completely sure you know it. Maybe you're also continuously using it on daily basis. Nevertheless, a reminder, ChatGPT only started a little bit more than 1 year ago. So it's even if it may be perceived as completely new, normal for us to use it, it's quite new and quite change maybe our daily routines. Generation Z, 70% are using generative AI, which is not only ChatGPT, which can be also Google's computer Bard, other text generators, graphic, video, sound generative AI. So 70% of them are regularly using it, and 52% of them trust this technology to help them to make informed decisions. What we will discuss today a little bit concerning, but also, a lot of Generation Z is using TikTok to get the news. So something which may sound strange for us, Generation X, Y, even millennials, but this is our Generation Z, and even more strong Generation Alpha is growing up. 70% of the users of generative AI are looking to automate tasks at work and use generative AI for work communications. For example, especially important or useful to say it that way if you have to communicate in a different language. So you can have ChatGPT to look on your email to see that it really complies with all the grammars, make it more elegantly. Or if you do a lot of presentations, you can use an image creator so that you have the images you really need for your presentations. As you see today in my one, it saves a lot of time because I don't have to go to a provider with stock photos and maybe have to pay a license. I just use the images I get created from the generative AI, free of license, easy to use. Of course, there are the various negative downsides as I get dependent on an algorithm, as artists maybe have a problem to finance their living, etc. But unfortunately, this is the way it is. On the other hand, the different governments try to regulate AI, including generative AI, to ensure a fair usage. We have the European Artificial Intelligence Act, which is on the way to get implemented. On the other hand, here in the US, I'm based in the Atlanta area. There's the President Biden executive order on safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence, which in short words wants to ensure a safe and fair usage, meaning fair, transparent, complying with law, ensuring human rights, and so on. On the other hand, that copyrights get respected, that not the generative AI is not just systematically copy and paste from copyrighted books, images, videos, songs, etc. By the way, if you're interested on more details on all the pages, I include the titles of the different articles I used, so you can look it up later on the internet. What is artificial intelligence? interesting is if you speak with various experts in the AI field, a lot of them do not want to really define what AI is. This may be also because the question is, what is human intelligence? So nevertheless, I found here an interesting change in mindset, you may say so. The well-known IT consulting firm Gartner still defined in 2018 artificial intelligence like this: technology that appears to emulate human performance, typically by learning, coming to its own conclusions, appearing to understand complex content, engaging in natural dialogues with people, enhancing human cognitive performance, or replacing people on execution of non-routine tasks. This was still their definition until 2018. You may historically align this with the Turing test, which was some kind of imitation game where Turing said if the AI emulates human, that it's practically non-distinguishable from human decision-making, then it's an artificial intelligence. Something which would go a little bit away. And this you see, for example, already in their 2019 definition. Artificial intelligence applies advanced analysis and logic-based techniques, including machine learning, to interpret events, support and automate decisions, and take actions. So see, this completely took off the comparison to the human. So for me, very important, if you speak about AI, don't think like a little human or a superhuman. It's really something different, something alien, you may say so. And this mindset you may align with the US philosopher Thomas Nagel, who asked in a famous text already in 1974 what it is like to be a bat, and this from a bat perspective, because a bat is an animal with complete different sensors than human. And here Nagel had the idea, if I have complete different sensor like the bat, I would completely think differently. And as I don't have these sensors, I really cannot understand what is being a bat, and I have no clue why the bat comes to the conclusion it comes through. In the last time, we have the same idea a little bit applied for the octopus. Octopus, the cute little animal, coming quite in fashion lately. For example, there was the Netflix documentary My Octopus Teacher, which gained the Oscar. And also in science, especially in biology, there's a discussion to think about to understand the intelligence in the octopus family, because we see a highly intelligent behavior, and maybe the only problem why octopuses never developed a higher form in the evolution is they are unfortunately only living like 3-4 years, so they practically cannot teach the baby octopuses, which is of course a big problem in evolution. If you are interested in this fascinating question, I can recommend the mentioned book, Mountain in the Sea, not only speaking about octopus and their form of intelligence, but also addressing other topics, how our society can develop in the near future. So important key takeaway, if speaking about AI, don't think of a human-like robot, a small human copy or superhuman. It's really something completely different, as AI has different sensors. It comes to different kind of answers than us. Also, something I want to mention is the difference between a narrow AI and a general AI. Narrow AI is designed and trained for a specific task or a limited set of tasks. Its capabilities, it excels in performing predefined tasks and functions within a narrow domain. In opposite to this, a potential general AI, this refers to an artificial intelligence that possesses the ability to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a wide range of tasks similar to human intelligence. Capabilities, it can handle diverse tasks, learn from experience, and adapt to new situations without specific programming. We don't have today a complete general AI. You may say that ChatGPT, BART, and similar, they are quite general, in opposite, for example, an AI which is trained on a specific field like EPIS, which we will talk about a little bit later today. Important, don't think that general AI is generally the better way to go. Think of Albert Einstein, who said everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. So for professional usage, you may prefer a narrow AI because there are less risks, which again, we will speak later today. Sorry. For example, you have the task, you need a random number between 1 and 6. You can use a very general AI to ask for a random number, which is a little bit problematic because they randomized based on algorithm, based on mathematics, a little bit difficult. So really the best solution to get a random number 1 to 6 is our very old-fashioned dice. And generative AI, just to define this also, generative artificial intelligence, it's commonly referred to as Gen AI or generative AI, is a branch of artificial intelligence that proposes the ability to create text. And if you think of text, this includes, for example, also coding. So it can program, maybe later AI can program itself. Also, it includes, for example, you can create risk indicators. So don't just think of human like texts, poems, etc. Also, you use generative AI today to create images, videos, voice, music, avatars, etc. Normally, these models analyze the patterns and structures present in their input training data and subsequently produce new data that shares similar features and characteristics. Important, generative AI is not intelligent. In fact, it is completely stupid, because if we speak about generative AI, we speak about practical use statistics, because what is general AI doing? It has the training data and analyzes how often one pixel is besides another pixel, how often one letter is besides the other letter, how often one word is similar to another word, how often one sentence similar after or before another sentence. So it's just really analyze patterns, and due to the different statistics where the different words, letters are found together, it creates its new text based on the huge computer capability and huge data sets. It can create texts which will be get perceived by us as similar to be written by a human. So it looks like magic, but at the end, it's quite basic statistics. So again, it's important to understand when you read the answers of a generative AI, it's really quite stupid. It just applied statistics. And with this, we're coming to some relevant AI biases. There is a tendency to create overtrust in the machine, meaning due to our experience, the answers I received, for example, by a generative AI, in 99% look perfect to me. So I stop looking for the errors. I practically trust the machine and just take on without any critical questions back. And this can lead to disaster. For example, there are some few examples in the early times from ChatGPT that lawyers just used ChatGPT to analyze their cases, align it with other cases, and unfortunately, 95% of the text the lawyer received was good, but 5% have been completely hallucinated, completely wrong, and of course, at the court, this not went well. So always keep up your ability for critical thinking. Authority pressure, meaning the AI was implemented by higher levels inside your organizations, similar to the CEO, so you may be afraid to question its results. Learned helplessness, with this I mean we have a long history of defeat against the machine, starting maybe with Kasparov, who lost against Big Blue, against chess. Since then, we lost in practically all board games. We even lose in poker against the machine. We lose in all kind of video games. So we are not related gaming. We are not really in a winning strike against the machine, which may made us feel helpless. Information bubble, as you see on social media or even on Spotify and other services, the algorithms like to keep us in our comfortable zone, in our bubbles, which is of course risky because we don't get any critical voices to hear anymore. Illusion of human-like communication. We have a tendency to humanize machines, not only robots, algorithms. I mean, there are some people giving even names to their cars and coffee machines. So we have a tendency to humanize the machine. And of course, this leads again to the topic of overtrust. As last, I like to mention here, cognitive offloading. As we are used to have our access to knowledge all the time with us, with our mobile phone, where we can all the time ask Google, have access to Wikipedia, or now also direct access to the ChatGPT app or any other kind of digital twin. We have a tendency to think less about questions, but directly go to the app to get the automated answer. This leads to special risks related to usage of generative AI, biased AI. For example, easy to see if you use an image generator and put in any kind of people. You can put, for example, please make me an image of Germans, of Austrians, of Americans, of Turkish people, Italians, Asians, Africans, etc. You can practically always you get an image which is showing the typical cliches. Why is this? Because generative AI works on the data, and this data must be correctly and completely labeled. For example, as I'm German, let's take this as example. If you get, I asked, make me and create me an image of Germans, and most of the time it's like an image from more than 100 years ago. So this could be because even only images from 100 years ago, the people who labeled the images said these are Germans. If you take photos from a 2023 German reality, then maybe you have a physician, engineer, scientist, student, whatever, but maybe people not put the label German. That's why the AI is not adequately learning. So important, the images, texts, they always may be biased. Hallucination, one of the big risks if you're using a relatively general AI as ChatGPT, Bard, etc. The problem is if the algorithm does not have enough information or to have identified a strong pattern, it does not tell you, oh, sorry, I do not have this information, I don't know, but it really makes up an answer. Often these answers, they look perfectly logically correct, but the problem, they are also perfectly wrong. So again, if you're using generative AI, which I invite you to do so, by the way, always keep up critical thinking, and also important to really use it for your results. You should use generative AI for topics you are knowledgeable of, where you can judge if the outcome is correct. or not. If you use generative AI for a field where you're not an expert, please be very cautious, because you cannot judge, and the way how confident the text is written may trick you that the AI is sure what it is doing, but in fact it is just hallucination. So for this, for professional purpose, and I will come to this, very important that we have adequate data sets, adequately labeled, that they are curated by an expert, and also this to keep out of date or unreliable information, because again, a general AI uses sources from everywhere in the internet, independent if it's written by a scientific expert or somebody put it on his or her personal blog. And also, of course, we only want to use information where we have the intellectual property rights, and also to ensure privacy and confidentiality. And with this, I come finally to the topic which I wanted to focus about, collaborative intelligence. Collaborative intelligence characterizes multi-agent distributed systems where each agent, human or machine, is autonomously contributing to a problem-solving network. So again, we can have a group of all humans, a group of all AIs, if they are independent and not interconnected, or a mixed AI-human group. Collaborative autonomy of organisms in their ecosystem makes evolution possible, because with the interaction with an independent other, I get new insights, which I then use for my decision making, and of course it may inspires me, it helps me to identify new patterns. So have the interaction with an independent other helps me for my personal evolution, and to detect new patterns and develop new ideas, and hopefully, thanks to the interaction, we come to a better decision making. Something which is not new, it's quite old. Aristotle said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And come again back to Albert Einstein, every kind of peaceful cooperation is primarily based on mutual trust. So important, peaceful, and trust. That's why some thoughts now about trust. Normally, how life works is in circles of trust. So before I'm listening to your ideas, what you're telling me, you must be in some kind of a circle of trust, meaning in my very few group where I have a high trust in the other's opinion, or maybe a wider circle where I'm listening to the people. Just to consider, I'm not completely trusted, but I trust them enough to at least to listen and consider what the people are telling me. And again, this can be relevant for AI and for humans. There are practically two sides to come from. First, Arthur Ashe, who said trust has to be earned and should come only after the passage of time, meaning if I meet a new person, a new AI, first of all, you are outside my circle of trust. I'm observing a little bit how you are developing. Maybe I start listening, observing your behavior. And if I think it's adequate, you come inside my circle of trust. The other way around, as defined by Enzo Ferrari, I give my collaborators a great trust, complete trust. That is the only way to see if they merit it. If they're good, they do everything they can to show their gratitude. If they are not, what better way to bring on their mistake? Meaning, if I meet somebody new, by default, this person is inside my circle of trust. I listen to this person, this AI, but if the answers are not good, this player may fall out of my circle of trust. So these are the two extreme sides. I think in reality, it's somehow in the middle. we start with a medium level of trust if we identify somebody new. And from there, this person can grow into a closer circle of trust or can completely fall out of my circles of trust. There are, of course, some studies. First of all, males normally are more trustful than females, which you may align to human evolution, where in the Ice Age, they said humans have been the hunters, meaning if I'm a hunter and I trust another hunter and it did not work out, we didn't had something to eat that day, but nothing more happened. In opposite to this, females, as they are getting the children, they are more dependent to get supported in this time by others, independent if the others are females or males. So they really have to have a more extended decision-making process whom they want to trust as a spouse or as a group, because in pregnancy and after this, they are quite dependent. And from this evolution, people think we can still interpret why males are more trustful in general than females. Of course, this is only a general tendency. Similarity between interaction partners leads to liking, cooperation, and trust, meaning the more I see the other person similar to me, the more in general I trust this other person, again, independent if man, woman, or machine. And also attractivity gets received as a reward. And this, of course, includes outer appearance, but also the inner values. These are not ideas I made up myself. Again, or you can find it here in these articles. And considering these ideas, we came up with EPIS, including its avatar. Important, the avatar, as you see EPIS, which you may say it's a quite attractive female. It's nice, maybe for the first contact, but it's similar to a human. The face is only an interface to the mind, meaning a beautiful face doesn't help anything if the received information or the dialogue itself is not attractive, satisfying, important for me. So again, this is a little bit how we like people to get in touch with EPIS, but this really only helps in the very first moment, especially as she's a quite narrow AI and not meaning EPIS is more than the avatar. It's much more the information behind. So it's the information which is important, and you cannot use EPIS just for have casual chat as you can do, for example, with ChatGPT. Trust is, of course, more than the appearance. The MedicReS Accountable Artificial Intelligence, MAAI, complies with the European Medicines Agency, ICH, GCP E6 in the R2 version, meaning a good clinical practice scientific guideline, which means for the data which gets presented by EPIS, it is valid, ethical, reliable, and always updated. And this because the information is curated by the MedicReS experts. So we have a human behind EPIS, and this expert has, of course, the knowledge, the experience, and also the responsibility and the accountability to keep the used database always in the adequate shape, to ensure that the information you get from EPIS is always right. And always, as EPIS is a quite narrow solution, it does not hallucinate. I mean, of course, I also tested it. So if the information you asked for is not in the database, or for example, you asked EPIS something completely different, it will tell you, I don't know, I do not have this information. It will not make up information as ChatGPT, for example, would do. You see here the quote by the famous consultant Edward Deming, US consultant, very active in Japan after Second World War, who said, in God we trust, all others must bring data. Sorry, please don't consider this as a religious statement. He wanted to make a point that you always have to show data, and this is, as we have the adequate data, which is auditable, transparent, then this leads to the trust of the user, as we invite you also to have using our EPIs. As you all know, cloud, this is the actual tendency, information centralized for somewhere on a server for the whole organization. Besides this, we have a fog, meaning the information is a little bit nearer, maybe on various servers where you need it, or edge, which is really where you have the sensors. This is important, especially for emergency situations. For example, you all have seen the Boston Robotics robot dogs. Imagine having them as a rescue dog. After an earthquake, for example, these robots may not have connection to the internet, to the cloud. So they must have at least a minimum data set, a minimum algorithm inside their robotic body, so that they can autonomously act at least directly related to their primary tasks, which would be identify humans somewhere in this field. So important is also EPIS aligned with this idea a little bit. Of course, she is in the cloud, so that if you're working in the big universities, in the big cities, you have direct access. But on the other hand, if you are a practitioner, a nurse, or also a student in a more rural area, you have access to the knowledge of EPIS, which on the one hand not only provides you quality information, but also helps a little bit with the psychological part. So meaning, even if you are alone in a rural area, in an emergency situation, you always have this feeling that you're somehow still not alone, but you are connected to the group, to the collected knowledge. And this reduces your stress levels, and with lower stress levels, this normally also supports the quality of your decision making. So even if AI is a mathematical code algorithm, it always has also psychological effect on the human. Something which came up the last months, like 2 months, 3 months ago, is the new evolution, Google's Gemini, as it also became part of its free Bard chatbot. This is a newer version of the large language model. It can understand and process information from various modalities, including speech, images, videos, audio, code, and emojis. Especially in the healthcare sector, this is interesting because I can upload an image, for example, X-rays, and in parallel to this, give the AI information, and also ask the AI, for example, questions related to my text, and question at the same time also to the uploaded image. So this helps, for example, the generative AI to be implemented in the group of experts, where you can discuss maybe the situation of a patient together with the healthcare information data sets, but also images. And as Google complains, unlike other LLMs that are rely purely on statistic prediction, Gemini incorporates reasoning and research algorithms. This enables it to think more critically, analyze problems better, to make more logical and consistent decisions, and to generate more creative and innovative responses. From my point of view, no revolution, but a next step in evolution for generative AI as far as if we want really to discuss with the AI, using sound, images, video with text together to discuss topics, especially the situation of a patient. Of course, this is a big progress. As I've mentioned, if we are using generative AI, we should use it for, at least in the professional field, where we are knowledgeable of, because a nerve AI, as I explained, EPIS, the risks that it will give you wrong data is very, very low. But you know, as you may have seen in various memes on Instagram, a risk for something is never zero. So always we have to keep up critical thinking, also from an ethical or legal point of view, because an AI is never legally responsible. If an AI does something wrong, tells me something wrong, and I don't stop the AI, I cannot blame the AI. The AI will not go to prison. Maybe it has to be deactivated, but who goes to prison at the end? If it's something bigger the topic, it will be me as the responsible for the topic. So again, think maybe if you have a dog, think of this relation. You can teach the dog, maybe to alert you if you get a package, etc. And also, but you are responsible what the dog is doing, because a dog is not responsible, also not from a legal point of view. And attention, even if the dog accepts the position as a beta, it may manipulate you, especially if you're sitting at the table and the dog asks for more food than you normally should give it. With the big puppy eyes, it is able to manipulate you, and also based on the different biases, especially the humanization bias, you may feel also perceived manipulated by the AI, the way it is writing, speaking, or appearing as an avatar. Again, you are the alpha, the AI is the beta. Important, but you always have to stay in control. And with this, we're coming to the key takeaways. Again, collaborative intelligence characterizes multi-agent distributed systems where each agent, human or machine, is autonomously contributing to a problem-solving network. My vision here is that, if not already today, in future, we have, for example, when we are in a hospital, we have the experts analyzing the situation of a human patient. There you have the senior doctor, junior doctor, important, the more practical nurses, but also you may here include different kind of generative AI to get adequate information. For example, EPIS as the expert, the narrow AI, which gives you 100% reliable information. Nevertheless, you may also, depending on the topic, may use a general AI like ChatGPT, because being more general, it has more access to more information, also information from fields which may be unrelated to your problem, and with this create creative different solution. So what we ask humans for when we speak about out-of-the-box solution, or for example, which you may experience after a long day. Again, you walk your dog in the park, and as you're not thinking that strongly about the office anymore, you get then different ideas which you can use then later when you're back at your desk. So important, yes, a general AI gives you maybe more creative solutions, but important for you, keep up critical thinking if you want to consider this or not, because these ideas may be great, sound great, but maybe completely wrong or non-useful. So again, my vision would be for the expert teams having a hierarchy of human experts, having a narrow AI like EPIs, and maybe some from depending the problem you also want to see what a general AI like ChatGPT would give you as a different solution. But important, responsibility stays with the human. Okay, that's all. I hope you enjoyed the topic. It's, from my point, it's really fascinating. If you have any questions, or if you just want to discuss some of the points, you can find me quite easily on LinkedIn, or you can directly email. Always, it's my pleasure to discuss these ideas. With this, thank you and enjoy the rest of the Congress.